Hello and welcome back to another video on Serious About Salvage. A big day today because we've got a replacement gearbox for the A200D. So fingers crossed we're going to get that in today, get some oil in it, and hopefully that's the end of our problems. Fingers crossed. I think I've got the best possible gearbox I could have got. Christ, I thought it would fall in then. That could have an illusion. I'll show it in a second. It's on a stand. Ooh. Yeah, gearbox and flywheel replacement. Let's spin around. Let's stop chatting. So this is where we left it. Engine's still on the stand. I've cleaned out all the gunk from in the bell housing. Not bell housing, but you know what I mean. And obviously that's our old gearbox, as you can remember. It's all open, isn't it? Where all them bits should be in there. So our replacement here, if we look around the other side, it's all still together. That's exactly as it should have been. And that's that little clip that had fallen out. Interesting. We have our flywheel there. Now, I wouldn't normally have gone along the lines of putting a second-hand flywheel in, but this gearbox and flywheel have come out of a car that only had 2,000 miles on it. So I think I'd prefer to put that in than an aftermarket alternative with 2,000 miles on it. So yeah, this is it. This is the gearbox we're going to put in. So fingers crossed this all goes to plan and we have a running and driving without a vibration Mercedes A200D. Fingers crossed. So first of all, we need to fit this flywheel. I've got the flywheel torques on a picture. If I remember off the top of my head, I think it was it's either 40 newton meters or 40 pound-foot and then 90 degrees for the 8 bolts. So we'll get the flywheel back in, well the new one in, replacement one in, get that all torqued up and up to spec, and then yeah, like you've not got no clutch kit to fit, so it's just a case of then this as it is going straight in to the flywheel, bolt it back up. I don't think it's going to be all that difficult. It's always easier putting them together than it is pulling them apart. Got to try to remember where everything went, but yeah, it'd be fine, it'd be fun. So let's get on with it, let's get the camera going. I'm going to try and do this on my own so I can video it all, but we'll just have to see how it goes when I get to the point of trying to put the gearbox in, because it can be tricky on your own, so I may have to enlist a bit of help, but we'll tackle that when we get there. So yeah, flywheel. Flywheel on. They're tight. So, if you've ever fit a flywheel, I'm sure loads of you have, you've got to lock up the flywheel, otherwise you just turn the crank. So I managed to get a flywheel locking tool that I had lying around to go in place. I think it's off a Fiesta. I think it's for a Fiesta, this. Can't remember now what I bought it for, but it did the job. Perfect, really. So glad I had that lying around. Back up there. Put the gearbox bolts back over here. And there, yeah, so now we are ready for the gearbox to go back in. I'm going to try to move this somewhere out the way. I think it goes. Where does it go? It goes. I can't remember exactly where it went now. That's yeah, whatever. I'll move it somewhere out the way. And then hopefully we're somewhere the right angle just to go up, shim it around and get it in. And like I said, I'll have a go doing it myself, but if it gets a bit risky then, unfortunately, I'll have to get some help. So, yeah, so basically that's gonna go in there, get some bolts in it, tightened up, and then literally just jack the whole thing back up and fix the top of the gearbox back into the gearbox mount through them 3 holes. That will then hold the engine and box back up, the stands can come out, and we can then continue to put it back together. So this is the hard part. Once this is in, it's plain sailing. Right, with a bit of wrestling, I managed to get it in. That was a struggle on my own, honestly. It's much easier with 2 people. Let's get this rope off. So, at the moment, I have just the 2 bolts holding this together. So the plan is, once I get this there. Yeah, so the plan is, come on. Yeah, bolts, one there, and I've got one there, but as you can see it's all mated up all the way around. So I'm going to go up top, get another 2 in the top. They're just nipped up, and then what we'll do is we'll come back down, we'll then raise it up, and we'll get it, like I said, fixed in to the gearbox mount up there. And then everything's then supported by the car again. The jacks can come out, and we know it's completely safe at that point to proceed. So yeah, but great stuff. I think a bit easier to line up because obviously you've not got a clutch plate to line up as well, and a pressure plate. You're literally just going straight into the flywheel. So pushed up to a bit of a wriggle around. It's got 2 dowels to locate on as well, in between the 2 faces. So once it's on them dowels, then your bolts just slide straight in, and you can run them up by hand. But I'm glad to, yeah, I'll be glad to get this back on its engine mounts, because it's not nice having an engine sat there on a stand for any length of time. You never know what could happen, especially on a lift as well. It's not ideal, but we're getting there now, aren't we? So let's continue, get this thing safe, and we can then start putting it together. And there we go, back on its engine mounts. So as you can see now, the stands are now disconnected. Engine rocks backwards and forwards, but that's because the gearbox mount into the subframe. Engine mount subframe actually on these, isn't it? It's from the engine, not the gearbox. Isn't obviously connected. So process now is going to be get the rest of the bolts in between the gearbox and the engine, get all them tightened up. We might as well continue under here. That's the process we did last time, isn't it? Get everything else buttoned up under here. So like, I think this is an auxiliary water pump. Get that all plumbed back up and connected. It's probably going to be the subframe then back in. Refit the steering rack back to the subframe. We're going to have the shafts to put in back into the hubs. Hubs to control arms. Yeah, get all the bottom back fixed back as it was, and then we'll go back up above. At that point we're going to have the gearbox oil to put back in. All the new filters to do. Yeah, I think we'll fly through it now, to be honest with you. I think we'll fly through it now. So I'll probably pick up bits and pieces now on time lapse under here, just do bits and pieces, because I think we recorded pulling it all apart, so it's the same except reverse, putting it back together, isn't it? There's no point watching it twice. And maybe resume back above. Yeah, but really happy so far. Must remember, we've got these coolant pipes on the front here, haven't we? And if I can just put that in now, push that on. If I forget. Ah, there we go. That's that one. I know there's another one above. On the other side, so I'll get that from above, because I took it off from above. Yeah, I mean, these are going to get replaced. I'm not too worried about that. Might be damaged, but I'll replace it. Filters, there's a filter above. Should be alright now, should be good. So we'll carry on now. Like I said, I'll get some of this underside fixed up and tidied up. And yeah, we'll continue above on the top side. Right then, an update for you. Underneath now is completely finished. We've got the wheels on. It's ready to literally just go on the floor and drive out. I've done the gearbox filters again. Got another kit. So we'd literally just need to now, once again, put new gearbox oil in this replacement gearbox. And then we've got a few bits of brackets, we've got the battery tray, and then the airbox, and then just to do the bit of wiring, really, on the top. And it's ready to go. So, interesting. Yeah. Shouldn't take much longer now, really. Nothing else much to say. I mean, you've seen all this before, haven't you? That's the bung, obviously, where you put your oil in. Pour it down there. Be a lot easier now. We've not got everything else in the way, because we can literally just get a normal funnel in there, can't we? And pour it straight in, like so. So this should be a lot easier. Again, 5.5 litres, and I want to reread that paperwork as well, because it, like I said, it mentioned a manual level plug on the engine, and I haven't figured that out yet, so I need to look at that as well. But yeah, literally, we'll throw oil in there, build all these last few bits up, literally just, like I said, the battery battery tray. Oh, that's off the sump, that, isn't it? That's off the sump, must remember that. Battery tray and battery, and airbox. And that's it, like I said, just that is literally it. Got one little bracket, one little heat shield there. And we're good to go. So, shouldn't take too long now, maybe half an hour for me. And we'll be ready to go. And fingers crossed, after all this work, it does solve our issue. And the car will be good to go. Fingers crossed. Right, the moment of truth. Completely put back together. The only piece I haven't put in is this air duct, just in case we need to top up a bit more on the gearbox oil. So yeah, I mean, I've even put coolant back in it as well. Nothing's coming out the bottom. This is it. This is it. Always a bit nerve-wracking this point, isn't it? Right. I think if we open door. Is it running? No. I thought last time I opened it, it ran the auxiliary water pump, but it hasn't done so. Let's get in. And still haven't figured out, I haven't looked at that handbrake that situation yet, to be honest. I haven't. What's going on? Ignition's on, right. This is it. I'll know very quick if it's still vibrating. No vibration. No vibration. So it was. The dual mass flywheel was causing the vibration. Loads of lights on now, but that's because it's had the battery disconnected. Still showing kilometres at the minute as well. See if it'll move. Nothing's happening with the gear. Alright, why is that then? One step forwards, 2 step back, ring comes to mind here. Right, let's think about this. Definitely plugged in the plug on top. Only thing I can do is scan it. It might just be because of the stored codes. I mean, that's got to be the first thing to do. Like, huh? What did it say then? Apply brake to deselect part position. Yeah, it won't go in gear. Right. I'll have to get the scanner plugged in and we'll have to have a scan of it, but the vibration has gone 100%. Perfect. Just need to figure out why it won't go into gear. Right, it's now the next day. I messed around for probably an hour last night with that scanner, trying to figure out what was going on. And basically, the code showing up for the transmission was P051300 I think it was, and what it means basically is there's the drive authorization for the gearbox has failed, which basically means the coding for the replacement gearbox is incorrect for the car, because these have the electronic mechatronics and everything. So basically a transmission control unit, which is that there is coded to the car. So therefore our original one, which obviously came out of this gearbox, has the correct code, and the one in the new gearbox has the incorrect code, so the car will not allow it to change gear, basically. So the solution is to fit the original mechatronics or transmission control unit to our new gearbox. So basically, yeah, last night before I went, I did pull it out just to have a look, really, and it isn't that difficult. It's behind that big black cover that holds the filters, and there's loads of O-rings, loads of little oil channels, but there's no reason why we can't swap that over, and then it should be back to how it was, and changing gears correctly. But you can have a little nosy in there, you know? There's a hell of a lot going on in there. Incredible, really. So I'm not well up on this, but I'm presuming that's the electronic gear shifter. And obviously all your gears are in there. I don't know what anything else is, really, but technical stuff, innit? So yes, we're going to have to once again drop this gearbox oil, which I am going to catch somewhere now in a clean container, because there's nothing wrong with it, it's going back in. And drop the coolant as well, that's going to have to be dropped again. We're going to have to remove this airbox, and then I think if we remove intake pipe, there's plenty of room then from underneath to get that black piece off the front of the gearbox with the gearbox in. So we're not taking gearbox out or anything daft like that. It should be pretty simple, really, an hour or two tops, and it'll be swapped over. So that'll be hopefully that then will make it drive and we'll have no more problems. But before I do that, what I'm going to do quickly is just change the auxiliary battery, which, thanks to a guy who mentioned this on the first video, he's got a channel called Mercedes and More, so check it out. He told me exactly where it was, and basically underneath the, or should I say underneath where the gear stick would be on a normal car, so under there is a little auxiliary battery which powers things like the electronic handbrake and some other stuff inside. And you'll have noticed on the dash on this car it's saying auxiliary battery malfunction. Basically it seems to me like the battery's gone flat in salvage yard, because they disconnect these batteries, you see, and it'll sat there for a while, so the one inside's gone flat and it's obviously not wanting to recharge. So I'm going to swap that over first, because I want to see if that gets rid of the electrical issues that we've got inside the car. I know for a fact it's not going to get us the gearbox working, because I know that's the coding issue, but I want to do that first, and then I know in there is good, and yeah, like I said, we can just get on and do exactly what I said regards changing the mechatronics or transmission control units. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to swap this battery over quickly now, and then we'll get back onto stripping back out this airbox, get that cover off, swapped over, oil back in, and fingers crossed that's going to be the end of the problems. Okay, we're ready to take off the main black cover. I've got all my airbox here, intake pipe, bit of a under tray, and we've got all the oil out and all the upper bolts are undone. We've just got these three along the bottom, and that cover then should hopefully wiggle its way out. So we're going to try and do this now. Put the camera there for you and see what happens. I'm trying not to get too covered in oil. Oh. Definitely coming now. Sorry about the noise of the rain. It's obviously raining. That should be all now. So fingers crossed. We can get this out somehow. Alright. Well, it ain't coming downwards. That's for sure. And it's now stuck on something. I don't know, you know, I'm not sure now whether it's going to come out. I need to go back above now. There's another pipe I'm going to have to take off. I'm going to have to try and get it out the top. But yeah, this isn't going to plan really. I'm absolutely covered in oil again. Let's get a torch and have a little look in there. Get some oil off me. I feel like it's in my mouth. Oh, look. Oh god, it's going to be dirty though. I might have to take the fan housing out as well. Let's get this out. But yeah, definitely more stuff's got to come out up top. Right, I'll continue, see if I can figure out a way of getting this off. Right, I've got the black cover off. And I've just got the 3 bolts left for the transmission control unit, so we'll just pop these out, get this out, and then I'll run through what I had to do to get that black cover off. Ah, that's the wrong way. So just the 3 bolts along the bottom. I think there's 15 in total, and you can tell which ones because they're slightly bigger. Let's get rid of these 2. There's just one left. Come on, battery's tied now. There we go. Okay. This should just prise off now. There's a lot of O-rings in these, so you do have to give it a bit of a tug and let the rest of the oil drain out. It's going to be interesting to measure how much oil came out of it because it looks like there's too much in it now. In my opinion, I might be wrong. See, there's so much more oil still coming out of it. The stuff is everywhere. Come on now. There it goes. Some of this drains. I don't want to get covered in the stuff. This is obviously the one that we don't need. but still, we want to be careful with it. It's quite a heavy unit. Get some of this oil out. It's going everywhere. Wowzers. Absolutely covered in the stuff. Absolutely covered. It's going to be a massive tidy up in this garage after this job. Still coming out. Right, I think I've cleaned up enough. Alright, so to get the black cover off was a struggle, because you have some O-rings that go into that transmission control unit, and the thing that was stopping it the most was this piece, that piece there. So I removed another radiator hose up there and removed this extension leg for the front panel again, and then it come out pretty easy actually, to be honest. So that's the way forward to do it. So it's possible, easily possible, with the gearbox in place, which is really good. So again, inside there is all our gearbox stuff, electronic shifter. Don't worry if I've got my terminology wrong here, it is what it is. So on this one, this piece has stayed in place, so we need to take that off. This one, because this is the one that's going back in, so that needs to come off. And that's the one we just removed. Yeah, like I said, 15 bolts. If you look on this face of it, there's a pile more screws, but they're all smaller headed. So that's how you differentiate. The bigger headed ones are the ones you remove, the smaller headed ones you leave in. The 15. They're all around the edge, there's none in the middle. So now before we go and put this in, I want to go over and check all these rubber O-rings, make sure they're all in place, because the last thing we want is for them to leak. And obviously with them being rubber, they're coated in oil as well, so the water perished. We can just push all that back together and it'll be fine. And again, on the black cover, again it's just a plastic seal, a rubber seal, sorry, so that can all be used again. There's no reason why any of that would leak. And I'm sure trying to get all them from Mercedes will be interesting. So see them two in there as well. They all look fine. This is the one with the newer, well, they both got new filter kits in them, haven't they? So it doesn't really matter which one we use, but we'll use this one from this gearbox with that transmission control unit. So that's it really, that's what we're going to do. Put that put that back in there, seal it up, put all our bits together, put gearbox oil in it again, this gearbox oil, that's like new, well it is new, and that should do it, that should do the job. These bolts were not tight at all, and the cover bolts weren't either, so yeah, I'm going to get this buttoned up now. I'm absolutely covered in oil, and I want to get to the point, we'll just get to the point where we're trying it again. I'll get it all put back together. So this video is going to be a bit of a marathon by now. Right, we're in the car, ready, with all the oil in, all put back together, completely finished. But will it work? So, just briefly before we do try it, I had a bit of a Google about this electronic handbrake, because with the new auxiliary battery, and it still wasn't functioning right. And I knew, obviously, because they're electronic rear calipers, there is a procedure you can do to put them into like a kind of maintenance mode where they electronically wind back so you can change the pads. And I knew that's what they'd done to move it around the yard, but my scanner wouldn't do it. But there's actually a way from within the car. I mean, I'm not going to do it again. In fact, I probably can do it. No, I can't. I'm not going to do it now. Basically, turn the ignition on, turn your handbrake off. The ignition's got to be on fully. You turn your handbrake off, like that, right? Then you turn the ignition off, turn it back on, press and hold that 1 second, and at the same time, after one, press and hold that one 5 seconds, and in the menus on the screen, there's an extra workshop menu. Go in there and you can activate rear brake pad change and put it into maintenance mode and take it back out of maintenance mode. Now it's out of maintenance mode, the handbrake, as you can see, works perfectly fine. Anyway, right, we're in here to see if it'll move. So let's start it up. We know it runs fine. Fly's doing my head in. I'll just prove the handbrake does work. That's it on. That's it off. Not flashing anymore, no more menus, right. What do we reckon? Will it work? It went into drive. And it's moving. And it's moving. There we go. It's in kilometres because it needs to go outside to get a GPS signal. Reverse, yeah, all sounds good. Oh, excellent. Back into park and handbrake back on. Works perfect. No vibrations. I need to now take it on a road test, so that's what I'm going to do next. See how it performs there. That fly's doing me head in, get out. And also on the gearbox oil front, once I poured all the oil back into a bottle, and it had pretty much 5 litres in it, so it was just a touch short, 5.5 litres it should have. So I'll put the extra bit in it this time, and I think that's all going to be okay. But I will recommend the guy to take it into Merck and just get the oil level electronically checked, because they can do it with their dealer software, and that'll unless it was in that menu, that maintenance menu. I might have a look at that maintenance menu again, see if that'll do it. Either that, like I said, it needs to be checked really, so I have no way of doing it, unfortunately. I will get him to do that. But new auxiliary battery in, no lights on the dash. Like I said, I need to take it for a run now, so that's what I'm going to do, and I will report back with my findings. But the vibration's completely gone. I'm pretty sure that this has solved the problem, so I'll come back in a moment, hopefully with good news. So I'm back, and it's a success. It drives perfect. It changes through all 8 gears, reverse, sounds perfect, no unwanted noises. We have successfully fixed it completely. So a mixture between the dead flywheel making the vibration, I can't honestly explain how the gearbox had no oil in it. I don't know how they've managed to pierce the bottom of the filter housing and empty it out. I don't know. I really don't know. Don't know what sequence of events has caused what, but end of the day, it's all now back together. Drives perfect. So yeah, explain that one. So right, okay, the lad who owns it is eager. He's only a young lad. He's eager to come and get it, so he's coming tonight for it, and he wants to clean it himself. So this is literally it. This is exactly how we're leaving it. I'm just going to lift it up now, put the under trays back on it, just make sure there's no leaks under there, clean the underneath obviously because he won't get under there, and it'll be done and it'll be gone. So end of this series, and I think a really good success in the end. He's got a really good car at a really good value. I'm not disclosing the price of this one. It's not my car. It's not fair. But trust me, it's come out a couple of grand under. Well, more than a couple of grand under the cheapest one of these that's available, even categorised. So he's got himself a good buy, and he's happy. So that's all that matters. And I've enjoyed doing it. I like doing mechanical stuff. It's different. It's tested me a bit with this transmission control unit and stuff, but we got there in the end, and it's all worked out. So that's good. So I hope you've enjoyed. If you have, please do consider subscribing. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.